All right, Willie's World. Welcome. All right, so we're going to talk about victims today. Now, sorry, I'm drinking bubble water. Now, a victim is when we think of the term victim, we really think of a person that was like egregiously violated. I think that's pretty much what we think about when we hear that term. But it's really more than that, and to really understand the victim mentality, we have to kind of understand the conceptual mind and the conceptual self. Okay? So there's real life, which is happening, and then there's what we think about real life. Okay? And what we think about ourselves in relation to others and the world. And that's what we think about is the conceptual realm. And the conceptual self is us in the conceptual realm. So so in the conceptual realm, you could be any number of things, right? You can be a mom, you can be a dad, you can be an artist, you could be a hard worker, you can be a bodybuilder, you could be a Christian, you can be anything that you want to be, really. Anything that you think you are. Basically, nobody's going to say, I'm a jerk. I'm nice, I'm funny, I'm cool, I'm a good dad, I'm a good Christian, I'm a good worker. It's like that's the conceptual self. That's what you think about yourself, right? It points to things that maybe you do or things that maybe you have and things that maybe you want to do and things that maybe you want to have, right? It points to those things. It's not those things. It points to them. And so in understanding the conceptual self, we understand that the lowest common denominator of what you can be in the conceptual realm is always a victim. It's always a victim. Because the conceptual self in the conceptual realm runs off of conflict. It runs off of conflict. And if there's a conflict, there's going to be drama. And if there's drama, there's going to be a victim. Okay? Now, bear with me. We're just getting there, okay? So, it takes a great deal of being a victim in your own head, in your own mindset, and observing this within you to see it, okay? But the conceptual self doesn't ever think about the present moment. It only thinks about the future, and it only thinks about the past, okay? And if it's thinking about the past, it's going to be thinking about good memories, or it's going to be thinking about negative memories, okay? And if it's thinking about a negative memory, usually it's going to add some element of like some narrative or some revisioning of what happened. Now, this is the negative. So, and it does this because why does it do it? Because it runs off of drama. The conceptual self runs off conflict and drama and resolution. And everybody knows that in order to have a good drama, you need characters. And one of the characters is a victim, right? So if you're replaying a negative memory, you're going to be replaying a negative memory in which you felt victimized, and the victim in you is going to be asserting an imaginary role or a revisioning of that situation where you were not the victim. You were powerful, and you rose up over your victimizer, and you were no longer a victim. See, it's just like obsessed with this reality. Okay, so in the past, you're reliving a positive memory, like a great memory where nobody was a victim. It was great. It was great. It was awesome. It was wonderful. It was pleasant. Why? How does that make you a victim? It makes you a victim because the situation was the rescuer. It was rescuing you from the victim. And so you're reliving a positive memory because it's going to be rescuing you from any type of drama or victimization or conflict. It's resolution. I've been saved. I've been saved. Conversely, if you're thinking about the future, if the conceptual mind is like fixated on the future, it's only going to be like fixated on a negative outcome or a positive outcome, and it's the same situation. You fixate on a positive outcome, like, oh, as soon as I get home from work, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be awesome. As soon as I get home from work, I'm going to do this thing, and it's going to be awesome. So it's like it's the implied reality is that work is boring and it's victimizing you, and then as soon as you get home and do this thing, it's going to be awesome. That's saving you. That's saving you from whatever drudgery you have to endure at work that's making you a victim. And like, okay, so maybe you're thinking about a future negative outcome. If you're thinking about a future negative outcome, you're like ruminating on that. You're going to make yourself feel really bad. Oh, I know when I come home this is going to happen and it's going to be awful and I'm going to have to deal with this. And it's a victim mindset. You see? It's always the lowest common denominator, right? So when we're living in the life and maybe we're not really grossly experiencing the victim mentality. Maybe it's like, I can't wait to get home from work and do this thing or buy this thing, and I can't wait for this thing to get here, and I can't wait for this situation where I'm going to go, and all my drama and all my issues are going to be resolved, and everything's going to be better. And as soon as I get this thing I really wanted, and I worked so hard to save money for, and it gets here, I'm going to be saved, right? We don't see the victim in that so much. So when you're living in that space, you don't see it. But the undercurrent of reality in that situation, the implied reality in that situation is that you are a victim, and when that wanted thing arrives, it's going to save you, right? So that situation doesn't work as well. What works really well is when you have been egregiously violated. That's when it works really well, because that's when the victim comes out, boom, full force in your mind. And see, the victim wants to be saved. The victim wants to be saved. As I can't believe this thing happened. I can't believe this person did this to me. I can't believe they said this to me. They betrayed me. They ruined our relationship, and I can't believe this happened, and my life is ruined because of this situation. And now I can't not overeat, or I can't not overdrink, or whatever. And it's like you just experience all this powerlessness and all this misery and this hell, right? It's all happening to you. But if they didn't have done that thing, then I wouldn't be experiencing all of this. None of this would be happening. I would be free from my misery. If it's their fault, they did it, right? That's when when that arises in us, when we're in a situation in life where something happens, some unwanted thing happens, and the victim mentality, the force of the victim in us comes out, we really get the opportunity to see, if we observe it enough, that the victim wants to be saved. The victim wants to be saved. Well, if that person did that thing to you and you felt so egregiously violated or whatever, like, they did it. Like, and they'll probably do it again. And they're never not gonna not do it, right? Probably. So they're not gonna save you. The situation's gone. They can't save you, right? It's happened. They can't save you, right? Nobody's going to save you, right? Nothing is going to save you. Like, experiencing the full force of the victim come up, arise within you, gives you the opportunity to see that it wants to be saved. And then once you've created enough misery for yourself, you get to see that, oh, nothing's going to save him. Nothing's going to save the inner victim in me. I just need to Put him away. Put him to bed. Get rid of him, right? Like, the first noble truth of Buddhism is the most profound realization that anybody has discovered. Period. Right? The Buddha gave us the first noble truth, which is life is suffering. Life is suffering. You remove the victim from a situation you're in that sucks. The situation is still there. It still sucks. Right? But the victim mentality in you that comes up, the drama, the conflict, the lack of resolution in that situation, it creates and it makes it so much more difficult. The situation already sucks. It already is difficult. It's already suffering. And then the victim in you comes up and it makes it so much worse. So much worse. Get rid of the victim. Just kill the victim in you. Kill him. Kill the victim. Get rid of him. Because life is still suffering. It still is. But you can do it. You can do it. The victim in you can't do it. The victim in you can't do it. They're waiting for somebody else to save them. Like, nobody else is going to save them. You get rid of the victim. You get rid of the victim. Sometimes, when we believe in things, when we believe in stuff, when we have hope for stuff, that's the victim. That's the inner victim, right? Like, the conceptual field, everything in the conceptual field revolves around conflict, drama, and characters in drama, and the victim. Really, it all revolves around that. You really gotta, if you can't totally step out of the conceptual field, which, most people aren't there yet, kill the victim in you. When the victim comes up in you, observe the victim for what he is, what she is, what it is. See that it wants to be saved. See that nobody's going to save it. Nobody can save the victim in them. Get rid of him. And just do whatever it is you got to do. Or try your best. That's all there is. All right. Kill your victim. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Till next time, Wild Willie's World of Wisdom here.